Have you ever stopped and felt like your most important relationships, at work, at home, are just kind of happening to you, like they're on autopilot? Well, in this explainer, we're going to dive into Ken Tucker's book, Intentional Relationships, and figure out how we can take back the controls and really actively build the connections we want. So it all kicks off with this story about a regional sales manager at Toyota. Now, this guy was a total high performer. He was dedicated, he was successful, but he had this one problem he didn't even know existed. A problem that earned him a really strange nickname from his own team. I mean, can you imagine hearing that? This manager, every single morning and every single lunchtime, would just walk straight past his team's desks, head down, completely silent. See, in his mind, he was just focused on his work. But to his team, that silence was absolutely deafening. He was the cricket. You only noticed him when everything else went quiet. And here's the thing. The manager wasn't trying to be cold or unapproachable. Not at all. He was just unconscious of how his behavior was coming across. And his story is a perfect example of a problem we all face. So often, we're just reactive in our most important relationships, letting our habits, good or bad, define them for us. This really brings us to the core issue the book tackles. Way too many of us let our relationships happen by accident. We're not actually designing our social lives. We're kind of just letting them drift, hoping for the best. And this chart really lays it all out, right? You've got two paths you can take. The default mode for most of us is this unconscious socializing, just drifting, reacting impulsively, and letting things happen to you. But the alternative, the goal, is this intentional approach, acting with a clear purpose, taking ownership, and actively building the relationships that you really value. And listen, the stakes here are incredibly high. As Tucker puts it, our words and our actions every single day, they literally determine the life or death of our relationships. Think about that. Every little interaction, no matter how small it seems, is either building a connection up or tearing it down. Okay, so if being unconscious is the big problem, then what in the world is the solution? This is where the book really shifts gears and introduces its most powerful idea. How do we actually make that shift? How do we go from being that cricket manager to being someone who actively grows strong, positive connections with people? Well, the answer is what Tucker calls intentional socializing. And look, this isn't about being fake or trying to manipulate people, not at all. It's about consciously using who you are, your unique personality, your conversations, your influence, to build the genuine, sincere relationships that you truly want. It's all about making a choice. I love this line. The core idea is that we aren't just handed a perfect set of relationships. Nope, we are the architects of our own social world. We have the power to build the connections that support us, that challenge us, and that help us grow. All right, so being intentional, that sounds great in theory, but how does it actually work in practice, day to day? Well, it means learning how to spot and act on these critical opportunities that just pop up in our daily lives. The book argues that every single day is filled with these little moments, these forks in the road where a relationship can get stronger, weaker, or even break entirely. The real question is, can you see them when they show up? Tucker gives these moments a name, RIOs, or Relationship Interaction Opportunities. You can think of an RIO as a choice point. It's that tiny moment where you can either connect with someone or disconnect. And it just goes to show how important those small, seemingly insignificant moments really are. Take this amazing example. The flight attendant spotted an RIO. This little girl was scared, she was alone. Now, the attendant could have just ignored it, right? But instead, she seized the moment. She didn't just do her job, she made a real human connection that little girl and probably everyone else watching would never, ever forget. So the big takeaway is that in every single one of these moments, we have a choice. We can seize the opportunity and build a connection. We can miss it, maybe because we're distracted or just not paying attention. Or, like the cricket manager, we can completely ignore it, totally unaware of the damage we might be doing. But here's the catch. To really seize these moments, it's not enough just to spot them. It actually starts with understanding ourselves, how we come across to other people, and the impact our own personality has on everything. According to the book, a huge number of our conflicts and misunderstandings happen for one simple reason. We lack self-awareness. We just don't see how our natural tendencies are being perceived by others. We might think we're being efficient, but they think we're being cold. See the disconnect? Tucker shares this great personal story where his wife basically acts as his social assistant. She holds up a mirror to his behavior, giving him real-time feedback on how he's coming across. She helped him see a side of his social personality that he wasn't even fully aware of himself. And really, this is the big idea. Our relationships are the best mirrors we have. They reflect who we are, how we behave, and how we make other people feel. Being intentional means having the courage to actually look in that mirror and pay attention to what's staring back. And that all brings us to the final and maybe the most important question that the book leaves us with. When you walk into a room, when you talk to your partner, your kid, or your colleague at work, what is your intention? Are you actively building something positive, or are you just letting it happen? The choice and the outcome is entirely up to you.